Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to my very first Blender tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to be just sharing about what Blender is and how to use it. You know, beginner's tutorial. So if you're already advanced, don't watch this video. It's not helpful at all. Anyway, so let me turn screencast on so you guys can see what letters or what I'm typing on my keyboard. Screen cast keys. Let's try that. Oh wait, let me start display. There we go. So the Blender interface is very easy, and you see you have all these windows. You can make windows appear very easily and just close them when you don't want them. And so the first key that I want to share is the G key. So if you just press G, it'll move it around. And you can press the Z axis to move it up on the Z axis, across on the X, or across on the Y. The Z key makes it go into wireframe mode. That's if you want to see what's behind. And it's useful for editing because then you can select vertices behind it. And then for the next part, it's A deselects and or selects it. So let's say I have my cube selected. I don't want it selected. I just press A, and it's not selected anymore. And then if I press A again, it selects everything. So that's useful if you either want to deselect something or if you want to select everything. If we just do tab, it goes into edit mode, and these down here are the faces, like the vertices. The edges are the faces. So vertices, you can select the vertices of each of these. The edges, you select the edges, pretty self-explanatory, and the faces, you select the faces. Now, the G tool applies to this also, so if you press the G, it'll move around and everything, but it'll stick to this. And the F thing, not the F thing. One sec, I'm gonna extrude this. I'm gonna just I probably should explain what extrude is. It'll extrude it, just make it a bit longer, you know. And I'm gonna extrude that. I'm gonna select these two faces. Now F will make those two faces one face. So if I press F, now we have one face. But I don't really want that right now. This right here is the magnet option, which will make it so that it snaps automatically. You don't have to press any buttons. I wasn't on the magnet tool right then. Turning that off, and this is proportional editing. So I'm gonna go G on the Z. You see that circle? If I move that up, it'll move more of it, kind of like so if I have it all selected, I'll just move it all. And the textured mode, you can see the texture, what's being affected by light. I use that a lot before I render because I don't want to back my computer up with all these render files. Wireframe is just pressing Z. And the bound box, I don't really know what that is. Okay, I guess it's kind of like wireframe, except a little different. I'm not quite sure, actually. For those of you who have a number pad, to view from the left is Control number pad 3, and you can just kind of learn these off here. I don't want to go through every one. But if you don't, like me, you have to actually manually click, and it'll bring it to the side you want. Now, to go into orthographic view, it would be numpad 5, but I don't, so I have to click that. And orthographic view is kind of a little easier interface because it actually gives you the one second, let me view from the front. When you're in orthographic view, man, this is really tiring. The orthographic view, the grid will show behind you. But if I'm not an if I'm not an orthographic view, it'll show in perspective. So it's like perspective. You can see perspective, like the math drawings where they show you like the front face of the cube and then the back face of the cube if you're in math, or if you're in the higher levels of math. And if I'm going to object, oh, you can also switch the mode. Weight paint mode is later on for advanced tutorials. I'm not familiar with the other ones though, except for the sculpt mode. Now the camera, it's what films the scene. So you can move the camera around, and you can make it so that you put a keyframe here and then a keyframe here, and it'll move really smooth. Okay, so if you make a mistake, like let's say I didn't want to move my my thing right here. Just press Control Z, or the OSX key, which would be the command with the weird little symbol, and it'll just undo the last command. I don't know how far it will go up to. Let's say G. I can just press that until it gets back to the original one. Anyway, so that's all of the Blender interface mostly. The other things, like you can make it smooth or flat shading. You can do a lot of other different stuff with these two tools, but oh yeah, you open up with TNN, and we'll get into that later. But for now, we're gonna mostly be sticking to the Blender interface and this. And this over here is the Properties tab. And the Properties tab gives you all the properties. One second, I'm gonna pause the video. Okay, I'm back. I don't know why they kept calling me. Anyway, so the lights, you know. Oh wait, I wasn't on the lights. I was in here. Sorry. If I click on the cube, all these tabs come up, unlike the lights or the camera. All these tabs come up, and this right here these are all the main ones we're going to be messing with. So you can rename your objects. Let's say I want to name this cube 3. It'll name it to cube 3. For now, I don't want it that, so I just press Control Z. And you can mess with the location in here if you like that, or you know, the G key is a lot easier. And you can mess with the rotation and the scale, which you just press S to scale it up, or R to rotate it. Same thing in edit mode, you can scale faces or vertices up, not vertices, or yeah, anyway. The constraints tab, those are more for bones, or armatures, not bones, but armatures that are used to make objects move different ways. And the modifiers tab, there are things like mirror, which are self-explanatory. They just mirror what's on the other side of this. So if I just go W and subdivide, or not that, I have to select everything, and W subdivide, it gives us a ton of faces. So we'll just select all these faces, and we'll delete them with the faces. If you delete the vertices, it'll delete all the vertices, including these vertices, so then there's nothing right there. And the edges, we'll actually delete those edges. So for now, we'll stick with faces. And you see, it mirrors what's been put out there. So we can do this also with, let me see, with the Z and Y axes. So now we're kind of just, whatever we do to this, it'll automatically mimic. That's pretty cool, actually. And if we do clipping, it'll actually make it so that it automatically clips, so it doesn't move, unlike this. So like that, if I were to do that, it would be like that. But clipping makes it so that it stays uniform. It doesn't like change the way it's connected to the pieces. Anyway, so let me just undo all that. And these will be when we're animating. And the materials are super important. It's what gives your animation or whatever you're doing in Blender real life like appearances. So, you know, you change the color, pretty self-explanatory. If I just change all these back. And the specularity is that white dot, it's the how much light affects its emission, does it actually give out light? Transparency actually is good for glass or windows. Mirror is good for metal or windows, or maybe just mirrors. Subsurface scattering is more for water. Now the textures are the textures affecting that material. So if you have that material selected and go into textures, a new texture will pop up, and we can see, because the color is purple, it's now kind of affecting it. Where the black is, it's now affecting the sphere, the material. So if I were to render this out right now, it's got these pink stripes. If I were to turn this to green, or not stripes, it would have these green blotches. For now, that's really good for if you're trying to do smudges, but there are a lot of things, like you can change it to cell noise, which will make it like kind of puzzle piece like, and that's good for like sci-fi stuff that I like to do. Anyway, the particle systems just make particles go out of it. And the physics are really important when you're doing realistic, like cloth simulations, where it'll be like clothes and actually interact with objects. Collision will affect most of these, and the force field will have, like, I think they have wind force fields and all these things. It'll affect like things. It'll make it windy, or it can make it yeah, you know, stuff like that. I'm not familiar with that too much, but I do know a little. And that's basically it. If I just press escape here, it'll escape out of the rendered image. So that's the Blender interface. And that's what we're going to be doing for the beginner tutorials. We're just going to kind of learn these. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.